Shabbat Shalom. Our Parsha, this Shabbat, I've already told you, it's a holiness code in it. What did I say it is? Kedoshim. Very good. Harriet. Head of religious practices. Oh, Hilda head of religious practices, head of the religious school as well. Our Parsha, this Shabbat, Kedoshim, begins with some of Judaism's greatest commands to be holy, upright in our dealings with others, in order to go ahead and serve as a reflection of God, to be holy, upright, and of service. According to Midrash Vaikra Rabbah, Kedoshim, specifically chapter 19, which we're going to hear some excerpts from later, the Holiness Code, is equal to the Ten Commandments. So much so that actually, you know how we rise from the Ten Commandments? We actually are supposed to rise when we hear the Holiness Code. The commands you'll hear are very similar. We're going to read the English together in wording and in intent as to the commandments, the Ten Commandments. It is at the heart of our religious tradition and literally at the exact center of the Torah. So if we would completely roll the scroll out, Kedoshim is at the center. It gives us the formula by which to live so that we can all be holy like God. The Parsha begins, "Speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say unto them, you shall be holy, for I, the eternal your God, am holy." We are all created b'tselem Elohim in the image of God. If God is holy, then we must be holy. So we must act in ways that reflect the glory and the goodness of God that is inside of us. Do we? How often do all of us really do that? The Holiness Code commands, you shall love your neighbor as yourself, and you shall let the stranger who lives among you be like your native born. Love that stranger. Love him or her as yourself, for you were strangers in Egypt. It outlines ways in which all humans, not just us as the people of the book, all humans should behave. We are all children of God. We should act as such. It is written in the future tense because it is something that we should constantly be striving for. Holiness is a choice. It is a choice that we are meant to actualize in our daily lives as a process toward renewal and redemption. So much so, we all need this in our world right now, so it is even more imperative that we try to live in ways that are holy and just and pure. In a partial commentary on this particular portion by Rabbi Emily Goldberg Weiner, she states, holiness, like all facets of the human experience, the conscious process of reaching for holiness is not the means to an end, but the end in itself. It is a conscious choice that we must make, an aspiration of who we can each become. It is when we see ourselves as finished products that we learn just how far we have to go. This Parsha comes at this time between Passover and Shavuot to remind us to be worthy of the gift of Torah, oral and written, to be bestowed upon us as guardians of all that is good and pure in life. The gift of free will and the freedom to choose our destiny, our fate, is as much in our own hands as in God's. The free will that we were given, sometimes it interferes with the plans that God ultimately has for us, as we can be forever getting in our own way. Ever feel like you're in your own way? Kabbalist Karen Berg states, as we walk down the road of life, we are offered many paths to choose. We may find ourselves arriving at a crossroads where we must make a choice which direction to proceed in. Or we may be looking ahead at a single path, a path horizontal, like a timeline in which we keep moving forward. Sometimes, however, the path before us is a vertical one. This is the path of spirituality, where advancement occurs in areas often areas unseen by the naked eye. It is the path of love that leads us to evolve into holy beings. It wasn't a joke when it was written, all the world needs is love. Think about it. Gary Zukov writes in The Seed of the Soul, our deeper understanding tells us that a truly evolved being is one that values others more than it values itself, and that values love more than it values the physical world and what is in it. If we lived by these principles, there would be no war. There would be a perfect world of redemption, peace, and promise that was meant to be our portion. And if we lived in that way, this would be manifest. The Haftarah portions that are relating to this parsha that are contained in Ezekiel are repeatedly passionate about the promises that God made to us if we would just behave, be holy, and if we would look at how we have erred over and over and over again in our actions. And we still do. How can we be holy? How can we remain holy when all around us is chaos? Hatred seems to be more the norm, and anti-Semitism is on the rise. History repeats itself because humanity as a whole never learns from the mistakes of the past or focuses on that which is holy. Loving our neighbor, loving our cousins as ourselves would dilute so much dis-ease and eradicate the disease we all live with that is permeating our world, threatening our global existence, and eroding all sense of humanity. God would not be pleased with the mess that we are making. We are all brothers and sisters. We are cousins in the Middle East. Rather than behaving like dysfunctional family, we should reach to one another in love to generate light and peace. It's hard with differing opinions, beliefs, attitudes, and ideas of who's right, who's wrong, and who owns what in the physical world. No one is exempt. It's actually pretty simple. If we followed the Torah, we followed the laws put out in the Holiness Code, the rest would take care of itself. And we would evolve into the divine beings here on earth that we were built to be. Karen Berg goes on to say about this, we come to learn in life that it is not the size of our home or the size of our bank accounts that matter, but rather it is the size of our hearts. In the moments that we choose to love, we begin to ascend that vertical path that leads to higher ground. We can begin to understand that it is the way that we treat one another that determines our evolution. The Holy Creator is a force of love, an all-giving, loving force, and we have been created from this force. This force is our essence, like a buried treasure within. When we choose to walk the path of love, we discover our hidden righteousness. When we choose to be more like our Creator, we reveal our holiness, a holiness that is our birthright and that purifies and heals, a holiness that removes every dark corner in our lives. So here we all are. There is evil, there is chaos all around us. We need to go forward, each and every one of us, both horizontally and vertically, with a commitment to be mindful of what it means to be holy in all of our thoughts, holy in our actions, our deeds, and to act upon it. Like when we're in line at Starbucks at the holidays and, the person in front of you pays for you and you pay for the person behind you, we need to figure out how to pay it forward with holiness, with spirituality. How can we be the messengers of light and love so that everyone can be elevated, so that we can truly merit the responsibility that we have been given to be the people of the book and a light unto the nations? By placing one foot in front of the other, one step at a time, one day at a time, working to manifest holiness in the world through everything we do, our actions, our deeds, and our conscious and unconscious intent. Being especially mindful when someone is right up in our face, filled with hate. As we go forward, let us remember the Holiness Code. Let us do our best to diffuse with love. Let us remember to love our neighbor like ourselves and remember that we too were once strangers in a strange land. The world we live in is becoming increasingly at risk. Let us remain holy. Let us be the light that we were designed to be. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.